Lots and lots of times we, as quilters, we can't stand to throw away any kind of pretty good sized piece of scrap. And this came off of a quilt. This was a quilt backing, and here's the batting behind it. And this was what I trimmed off to finish the quilt up after it was quilted. So I have all this fabric, and I've been thinking about what can I do with some of that. And most of it is wide enough that I can get 6 inches off of the side. And of course a quilt, is long on the sides, so you've got enough there that you can do all kinds of things with it. And I've kind of sketched out here a little thing that I want to do. And this is not my idea. I saw this a long time ago somewhere else. I wish I could remember where, but this is going to be a little sunglasses case, or it could even be a pencil case, or it could hold your rotary cutter, some of your sewing tools. It could hold jewelry, makeup, beads, I don't know, just whatever you need a container for. But what I'm gonna do is lots of fun stuff, and we're gonna use our BSR and try to get used to that, which I'm not very good at, but we'll do our best. It's always takes a little practice to learn something new, and I've been using the BSR for 4 or 5 years, but I'm still not very good at it because I don't do it every day. But today I am going to, and I am going to quilt this long piece. And if you want to do this with me, you're going to need a piece of fabric, batting and backing, 6 by 18 to start with. I've written down some notes here on different ideas of things: metallic thread, variegated thread, fold over elastic. I've got to put a zipper in here, and I'm not going to put it across, like what you would normally think on a pouch. I'm going to put it all the way different. In fact, you could even put it on here so that it folds up and over the top of the pouch and zips to the back from the front to the back. Lots of fun thinking about that. Thought about using some of my Derwent ink paints on this. Might do that. And we're gonna free motion quilt a flower or something. It's gonna be something there. Or maybe a flower. Might be a few leaves or something else. It depends on what I find. But I'm going to cut out my 6 by 18 piece of fabric. This is going to be the back of it. And I've pulled out a whole bunch of other fabrics that I'm going to throw in here and that I thought would look good on this, and we'll see what we come up with. Before I get started on my actual project, I wanted to practice on a piece of scrap to kind of get a feel for what direction I wanted to go. And so you're seeing me now working on just a scrap piece of fabric to create a little flower and get an idea of how I want this to work. Here you can see I'm starting to audition some different fabrics and kind of getting an idea in my mind how I want my flower to look. And just thinking about the different shapes that I want to put on this piece. When you're thinking about petals or leaves, something that is behind, it's a good thing to remember that dark always recedes and light always comes forward. These shapes that you see me cutting are very abstract, and you'll see when I stitch them down, they will be smaller and look much more like the petals of a flower. Somehow, I have to get this moth in there. I love it. I have all my petals where I want them, and I have set my machine up with my BSR. I am in mode 1, and I'm getting ready and stitching some of the petals down. Think about how flower petals look in nature. If you see many stacked petals or just a few, how different are they in size and shape? Stitching darker petals down first, and then the lighter petals on top. Just free motioning a petal shape onto my scrap piece of fabric that I have laid on here. Petals come in many different shapes, and you'll see that I sort of incorporate these in my flower. So my flower it's the same flower, but it has several different shapes of petals. Trim as close as you can. I do have my stitch length on my BSR at 2, so the stitches are very tiny and very close together. My tension is a little tighter. I don't want this to fray out, and I'm cutting very close to my stitching and keeping the edges as neat as I can. And you'll see that I continue to trim different places all the way through the project. As I unfold this lighter colored petal, something pops out at me from the fabric. And sometimes you'll see designs or various elements in the fabric that will all of a sudden just speak to you and give you an idea of how this particular piece should be stitched. The whole purpose of this technique is to have fun with this, to enjoy the process, and just taking time to think about learning and progressing with your stitching skills. I've decided that the center piece that I've picked out or cut out from my fabric there is too large for the flower that I have done. So I'm kind of just searching through the fabric for something that's a little more, a little smaller, looks a lot better. All of the sewing that you're watching is actual speed. I have not increased the speed at all. I'm going to be doing some embellishment and thread painting on my flower. And here I'm just looking at different threads that I've pulled out. I have a metallic thread and 2 or 3 spools of variegated thread that I liked, and I'm sort of auditioning these threads. Decision made. I'm adding some definition to the petals, some veining, and I'm also going to be stitching around the outside of the petal and putting some quilting just on the outside of each petal so that they stand up just a little bit. With the slider on the bed of my machine, it's very easy to move the fabric. I have finished now with my practice piece, and I'm actually working on my little pouch now, looking at how I want to position my zipper and exactly where to put it. Because I know that I'm going to have a seam here, putting the two short ends of my little pouch together, I decided to take about 1/2 inch of the batting, just the batting, out of each end, not the sides, just the ends. As I was stitching along, I got a little jag in my quilting there on the plaid fabric behind my zipper. And so my project sort of decided for me where I was going to put the moth. So when you have a little place on your little bag that maybe you made a mistake or you don't like it and you don't want to pick it out, just put something over it. Anything will work. So my little moth is going to cover up my mistake. Putting a similar flower at the top part of my little cosmetic bag, which will be the back when it's finished. time to put the zipper pull on my zipper and open the zipper from the back, cutting my little pouch so that I can see the zipper from the back side. I'm stitching the short ends of my little pouch together. I'm using about a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and you can see that I fold that over and sort of debate whether I can do a folded over binding, and in the end I decide that I'm going to just overcast the seam edges on the ends and the sides as I stitch my pouch together. Before I sew both of the side seams on my little pouch, I open the zipper about halfway so that I don't sew my pouch closed. And with the zipper open, I can turn it right side out. Everything is trimmed up nice and neat and pretty, and I'm ready to do the overcasting on the side seams. Time to turn my little pouch right side out. Here we go, all finished. I am going to add some bling. I'm going to put on some buttons, and I'm going to make a couple of yo-yos and sew to the front of my little pouch, and I might add some beads, some tiny seed beads where the antenna of the moth are, and just make it look perfect. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.